Do you love high-end decor but on a budget? This video has 4 for you, so let's get started. We are starting here in my garage, and I am going to take this 1x6 that I have left over from several projects actually. I buy them pretty long size and then I use them throughout until I am out, and this is the last piece I have. I am going to cut a 3-foot piece off of it, and then we are going to take the remaining piece and we are going to cut 2 triangles as well as 1 smaller piece for a little shelf for it. After I have everything cut, I am going to come back inside and sand everything down smooth, making sure there are no splinters and that the wood is pretty soft. I'm going to do the same thing to the smaller triangle pieces as well as the smaller shelf portion of today's project. Now this is going to be a wall decor. It's going to be a place where you can hang a purse, a wreath, a scarf, whatever you may want, but also it's going to have a little shelf right on top. I'm going to use my chippy brush here and start staining the wood pieces with Rust-Oleum glaze. This is in their brown tone. I love this glaze because it's so user-friendly. It's not like stain where it has a strong scent and it's really hard to remove from your hands, but it does give the illusion that it is stained, and I just love the color. Although it is beautiful as is right now, I do want it to have more of a whitewash look. So I'm going to take some Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white and dissolve it in, or not dissolve it, dilute it in some water. However, I didn't add enough paint, so it's not working. So I tried to add more paint to the water, stir it up, and same thing happened. I was not getting the look that I wanted. So I ended up taking the little rag that I'm using. It was soaking wet. I just dipped it in the paint and I started painting the board. This is just pretty much whitewashing it, just making it lighter, making it a little bit more muted. And I love the tone that it gave. It truly, I don't know, I guess I don't know what I was looking for exactly. I just wanted it to have a whitewash look, and it turned out more beautiful than what I thought it would ever look. I did add a little bit of paint just like you see here as a dry brush technique, and I'm just going up and down the entire long board as well as the smaller pieces. This is just going to add a little bit more dimension and a little bit more of a textured look to the board. And I think the end result is absolutely stunning. I've never done this technique and I am going to do it again because look how beautiful that board looks. Love it. Now I'm going to take the triangle pieces, and this is just going to be where the little shelf is going to be on. We are going to place it evenly on both sides. I'm going to secure it with brad nails, and then we're going to place the smaller piece or the small little square piece right on top, and again attach it with brad nails. My friend, whether you are new or you are returning, I hope you are enjoying this video so far. And if you are, would you consider giving me a thumbs up? Giving me a thumbs up really helps this video reach more people and helps my channel grow. I am going to add this little hook that I got recently at Hobby Lobby. I love Hobby Lobby's hooks. I think they have a great selection. This was $3.99, but I actually got it at 40% off. And that's just going to go right on the kind of like midway to the bottom of the long board. And then I added 2 sawtooth hooks to the back to make sure it's going to be nicely secure and not go anywhere. And look how beautiful this board looks. This definitely looks something like you would find in a boutique somewhere. Has a very farmhouse, almost modern farmhouse, I think. But I love the tone of the board. Love it. For this next DIY, we are going to do a similar technique that I did in the other board. This is the leftover piece. I cut it into about 1 foot long. I sanded it down, dusted it, and I'm going to apply more of that glaze and remove the excess with a rag. It's just a dry rag. And then instead of going through the whole like dipping it in water and all that jazz, I decided to just straight up paint white. So I started painting or applying the paint right on it, even as the glaze was still wet. I did not leave it dry. I'm just going to apply one heavy coat, sloppy coat of paint, and then I'm going to start wiping it off. I had no clue if this was going to work, but it actually did. It still gave it that whitewashed look, and it was so much easier and less time consuming. Once I had it done and it was dry, I am going to take some of this ticking stripe fabric I got at Hobby Lobby maybe in the summer, I think it was, I got it. And I'm going to cut a piece that is about 3/4 of an inch smaller on every side than the board. And I'm going to attach it using 1/2-inch brad nails. Using my Cricut, I cut out a stencil that says home, keeping it simple. This stencil vinyl is really good to use. I actually have it on my Amazon store. In my Amazon store, I don't know if you ever visited, but I do have a lot of the supplies, paints, and tools that I use for my crafting and my creating. So if you want to take a look, I do have the link to my store down below in the description box. Now I'm going to stencil it using a wedge makeup sponge. There you go. And some Waverly chalk paint in the ink, and then just remove it. I think it turned out so cute. Once I had the stencil completely removed, I am going to flip it over and I'm going to add some jute rope to the back, and I'm just going to staple it to the back. Again, keeping it simple. Now this board is thick enough where if you don't want to hang it, you don't have to. You can just place it on a mantle. Any tabletop would do, and it would actually stand. But I thought adding the rope would just give one more option. I'm going to take some of these blue florals from the Dollar Tree from their fall collection, and I'm just going to cut a couple branches off of it, and I'm going to staple them to the upper left corner of the board. And then I'm going to take some of this ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to make a multiple loop bow. Just wrap it around my finger several times and then use some of the same ribbon to tie it in the middle. And then I'm going to hot glue it, covering up these staples and the stems, and that's it for this one. What a beautiful little decor sign to place anywhere in your home, and actually it's very customizable. You can use any fabric and any florals that you may have on hand, and I think it turned out stunning. For this next DIY, I am going to take this faux little decorative cutting board I got at the Dollar General for $3 and 4 little legs that I cut. This is a 2x2, yes, that I cut into 3-inch long pieces. These are going to be the little legs for what I'm going to be making a decor riser. As I mentioned in previous videos, I'm a little obsessed with decor risers because I just think they just add so much texture to any decor, and this little faux little decorative cutting board was perfect for one. Once the paint was dry, I painted everything using Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. I gave everything 2 coats. Once it was dry, I'm going to take some of this drop cloth. I cut out a piece that just covers the top of that, that extra level that it had, the cutting board. And I'm just going to place it right on top. Then I'm going to place the little legs underneath, and then I'm going to start brad nailing from the top, just making sure that I have the legs where I want them. So I did make sure that the legs are in each corner exactly where I wanted them. And that way, as I'm stapling, or not stapling, but brad nailing them, it's going to attach the fabric as well as the legs. However, the brad nail's head is a little small, so the fabric was not really attaching really well on this drop cloth. So I ended up using some of this tacky glue from the Dollar Tree, and I just started placing it all around the edge, and that did the trick. That actually worked really well. After the fabric was completely attached, I did distress the edges of the cutting board. That way it just has a little bit more of a farmhouse look. I didn't go overboard with the distressing, but it is enough to kind of give it some dimension. But look how beautiful this decorizer looks. By far one of my favorite ones that I've created. And I think it's because it has that cutting board look that is very unique to it. I love it. Moving along to the next DIY, I'm going to take this scrap 4x4. I have had these in my garage for a while. I have made several DIYs with other pieces, and this one is probably about 8 inches long or so. It was already this size, so I grabbed it, and I'm just sanding all around, making sure that it's smooth and somewhat in a better condition, but I do like the rusticness of it. Once everything was sanded and dusted, I am going to give it one coat of regular household latex paint. Once the paint was dry, we are going to put on some gloves because we are getting messy here. We are going to take some Dollar Tree caulk and we are going to start covering the entire thing. We're going to make a not too thick of a spread on all four sides of the piece.
Did a lot of bad things, and never did I give in. Just 'cause the thought of being vulnerable made me feel less than I am. I have never felt.
I am now going to take this faux fern leaf and I'm just going to start kind of stamping it. So I'm just going to place it and then dab it, press it on until I kind of feel like it can't go further down. And then my hope was to have a stamp of a leaf. What I got was mush. Seriously, I think in person you can see it a little better, but you can't. I mean, there's just way too much texture everywhere. But I was committed. If you know me, I just keep going. I just keep going because why not, right? Not always things turn out the way you want, and that's okay. So I'm going to show you. I tried to create different styles using the same leaf, and I just kept going. And some of them turned out a little bit better than others, but overall, it was just not good, but it's okay. So I just did it on the four sides. Now, do you see how the paint got really yellowish kind of? That is because it's just an old piece of wood and sometimes actually often that happens. And so what I decided to do was to give it one coat of Kills primer with a stain blocking formula in the hopes that it would work. And it did. It still see a little bit of yellowing, but it did work. So I did that and then I added one more coat of regular household latex paint to hopefully get that yellow out, but it was okay. It turned out fine. Once the paint and everything was dry, I drilled a hole right in the center of the top because this is going to be a door stopper. Yay, there it goes. I've never made a door stopper and I wanted to try it. So I am going to use another one of these Hobby Lobby knobs that I got there. This was also $3.99. I got it at 40% off. I screwed it in. Then I'm going to take this felt pad. These are the ones you can put underneath chairs and tables. I'm just going to cut it into fours and place one in each corner and look how cute. You can't see the leaves, but it still has a lot of texture and I think it looks beautiful as a door stopper. You can grab it through the knob, move it as you need it, but it turned out super cute. You can see the leaf a little bit, maybe. But this is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I always enjoy spending time with you. Thank you if you're coming through for the first time. I hope you consider joining our YouTube family. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. I do have a playlist here with tons more of inspiration for you. Check it out. I'll see you later and have a blessed day. Bye.
From that